Hey guys, it's Josh. I hope you're doing well. It has been an absolutely blistering August and September in terms of projects. I feel like I've just hopped from one project to another and then some. So it's good to finally kind of sit down and collect my thoughts after what has been a very busy summer leading into fall. Today we're going to be discussing a new V-mount battery that has consistently made its way into my kit over the last few weeks. This is the Core SWX XCell 99 watt-hour V-mount battery. For those familiar with the brand, Core SWX, you should already be pretty intrigued. They're manufacturers of a variety of high-end V-mount batteries commonly used on film sets here in Canada and across the world. They make batteries like their Nano X series and their Helix Max Ultra batteries, which are truly professional grade. This new battery from the brand represents their latest lineup of lightweight, cost-effective batteries designed for mirrorless and small cinema camera workflows. A battery type that fits right into my wheelhouse. Full transparency, Core SWX sent this battery to me, but I actually forgot about it for a few weeks. It wasn't until I needed more V-mount batteries for all these projects that I've been doing that I started using it naturally, and that's when I realized how special it was. The TLDR on this battery is that it's a standard 99 watt-hour V-mount battery with a few standout features that make it special, along with the ability to display your own custom logo on the back of the battery using its digital display. Cool. On the surface, the XCell, as I'm going to call it, looks very familiar, as most smart V-mount batteries in this class follow a very similar formula. Plastic construction, front screen indicating battery percentage, and multiple modern connection points. As we look closer though, you'll notice a bunch of small improvements to the usual V-mount battery template. For starters, this battery is smaller and lighter than other V-mounts that I've tested from Small Rig and KNF Concepts. Not by a huge amount, but it does make a difference when you're building a rig. It's about 5 to 10% lighter than the batteries that I've tested. There are side grooves on the battery that make it easier to grip if your hands are wet or if you're wearing gloves, and they're genuinely comfortable and well thought out. The next part is kind of going to be hard for me to show with just one battery, so I'm going to use a clip from the Core SWX YouTube channel. Essentially, there's a small indent at each of the corners of the battery with the inverse molded onto the front of the battery in the form of a little plastic nub. Basically what it means is that they kind of lock together and you can stack them vertically to save space, just kind of like a nice little stacked orientation. So if you have multiple of them, it could be a real space saver. The XCell has a recessed 7-sided OLED display that's one of the clearest and crispest displays I've seen on a smart V-mount battery at this price range. You can wake it by using the battery or by tapping the status button on the top to cycle screens. Pressing the status button once also lights up the wraparound LEDs, which is a really cool feature for a battery of this price range, 4 per side, so you can quickly gauge the battery's charge level when you're not looking straight at the display. So you can just see kind of from the side how much charge approximately your battery has. But honestly, you should be looking at the screen because that's where this battery's smart features really live. A single press of the status button on the top shows the battery's remaining percentage. If you press it again, you'll get an estimated runtime based on the battery's current load. The little processor inside the battery has been doing math, and that's a great addition to my workflow because it makes the pack feel more pro than some of the other batteries I have on the market, and it means that I can better estimate when my battery is going to run out on a shoot. And there's more. Double press the status button and it'll bring up your custom logo, a very cool feature to see on a V-mount battery. I'm using my Forkright Films logo, which is the logo for my small business. Setting up your logo on the battery takes a minute, but it's pretty straightforward. Create a Core SWX account on their website. In your account, open the Color ID logo generator. Prepare your 240 by 240 pixel JPEG of your logo. Upload it and press the Generate button. The website will give you a custom file that you have to download. Put that file onto a USB thumb drive and plug it into the battery. The final step is to use a paper clip or like a SIM card removal tool to press the small reset button that they've put inside the DTAP port, which I think is a really cool place to put it. The battery reboots and then it'll display your logo anytime you want with a double press of the status button. Finally, triple press the status button to cycle the display color between blue, green, red, and yellow. This is super cool if you own multiple packs. because you can pair the batteries visually by color, you know, green for A cam, blue for B cam, and then you can kind of know just at a glance again which batteries go with which camera set. The software touches on these XCell batteries are genuinely surprising. I've never seen any of this functionality on a V-mount battery that is this inexpensive. It's genuinely the best software package I've seen on a smart V-mount battery so far. For smart V-mount batteries, I/O is basically make or break. It's like the most important thing that we want out of this. It can absolutely be a deal breaker, as some of these smaller cameras don't even take the BP port on the bottom of the battery that the larger cameras run off of. So the connections on the top of the battery are typically kind of your most important point for actually choosing a battery for your rig. On the top of this battery, the XCell V99 includes one USB-A port, one USB-C port rated at 65 watts out and 100 watt fast charging, one 8-volt DC barrel port, one 12-volt DC barrel port, and one P-tap port. These are very similar to the other popular V-mount battery options on the market, but the execution here feels a little better. The USB ports share this like rugged metal shroud, and the barrel jacks are thick and robust. It just gives me peace of mind that this is going to hold up as opposed to an all plastic construction. Here's my camera setup that I've been using with this battery. I've been using the Core SWX XCell V99 on my Sony FX3 rig to power the camera, and an Atomos Ninja V, which it does flawlessly for a little over 4 hours, which is great given the amount of power that these devices can draw. Set yourself up with 2 of them and you'll have enough capacity to power a similar setup for an entire day. One of the reasons that I really like these 99 watt hour batteries is because they're high capacity, but you can also still bring them onto airplanes in your carry-on bag, at least here in Canada and North America. And the Core XCell also falls into this category, making it a great battery to travel with. If I had to mention any cons when it comes to the XCell, and there aren't really any deal breakers for me so far, they would probably be that I'm not really a huge fan of the little plastic port covers on the top. This isn't unique to Core. Most V-mount battery brands haven't really nailed kind of the port covers yet. These little plastic and rubber implementations tend to kind of just get left off and flop around, and it's just not a great solution, but I've yet to see a better execution on the marketplace in this price bracket. That and the styling. I mean, it's not an ugly battery, it's just kind of understated. The logo on the back is cool, and the screen on the back, the OLED screen, is like really visually interesting because it's not a square, it's like a 7-sided polygon. But brands like KNF Concepts with their metal shell or Small Rig with their minimalism have a stronger brand identity when it comes to the look. These look professional and they're very low key, which is probably at the end of the day a good thing. So in conclusion, I would say that the 99 watt hour V-mount smart battery space is incredibly crowded. There are dozens of brands with similar specs, all competing for a share in the market. If you're shopping purely on dollars per watt hour, the Core isn't the cheapest. At $179 USD before promos, it can't really compete with true budget options like the brands, Newer and KNF Concept that just literally come in as cheap as it gets. But the Core battery feels more premium, and it has more features that these other cheaper batteries don't have. That's why I think this battery is more of a small rig competitor, and in that matchup, I think there's a strong argument to be made that the Core actually wins out with its lighter build and added software touches. So if you're after a professional-leaning alternative to something like a small rig V-mount battery at a lower price, the XCell V99 is a great pick, in my opinion, and more of an affordable pro substitute for high-end packs from the likes of like Anton Bauer or even Core SWX's higher-end batteries. So to wrap up, I was really surprised by the Core SWX XCell V99. Its software features and its attention to detail really helped it stand out amongst the sea of other lithium-filled black plastic rectangles. I didn't really think that I could be surprised by a battery in this price range. Like I said, I've reviewed like 4 or 5 of them at this point, and they all power my devices. They all, do kind of the same thing, a little interchangeable in terms of runtime and price and build quality and whatnot. But I was really excited when I heard that Core SWX was launching a more affordable battery because I'd used their higher end batteries like their Nano professionally before, and I was impressed by kind of what they offered then. It's just the price was always so so high on those higher end models that it never really made sense for me, someone who really just needs power, not necessarily all of those professional features to purchase and pick up. But now that there's a cheaper option, I'm actually kind of excited about it. I think that this line has a future with Core, and I wish it success. So that's it for me. I appreciate you very much. I'm going to do my best to continue to post throughout the back half of 2025. It's been a busy year. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.